The topic of this presentation is on the plight of the honeybees. At first, one may not think of the honeybee as being a part of a social issue. However, if you give me a few moments of your time, I will make the connection. My hope is that you will understand the importance of this issue. Since 2006, the honeybee population has been rapidly declining. Many may not think that this is important, but it is. Honeybees are responsible for 1/3 of the food we eat. Estimates claim that every third bite of food consumed is from the honeybee population. Produce ranging from apples and almonds to watermelons and walnuts are possible because of the honeybee. In the book of Genesis, God gave Adam all the seed-bearing fruits to eat. This is God's plan. God created only good things for us. Yet, we have gotten away from that. Man's manipulation of our food is not what God intended. Colony collapse disorder. Since 2006, over 40% of honeybee colonies have disappeared. Bees are acting in strange ways. They are confused and disoriented, and they are unable to find food. They die before reaching their hives. If the honeybees are being affected in this way, how long before we begin exhibiting the same signs of damage? Monsanto is only one company that manufactures pesticides, herbicides, and fungicides. It was not enough to spray produce. Monsanto also genetically modified food to resist insects. Preservatives are also used to prolong the shelf life of produce in the stores. How can we be sure that these chemicals are safe for our consumption? It has taken a decade for the bee population to decline. What will happen to us in 25 or 30 years after eating genetically modified foods or foods that have been treated with chemicals most of us can't even pronounce? Beekeepers have been forced to abandon their livelihood because of colony collapse disorder. Many beekeepers are near farms and orchards so that the bees can forage easily. Yet, if these farms and orchards are sprayed with chemicals, the bees' life and the livelihood of the beekeepers are in jeopardy. The USDA has no qualms about using genetically modified organisms for our consumption. Many countries refuse to accept fruits and vegetables from the U.S. because of the practice of genetically modifying our food and or the use of harmful chemicals. Also, these countries have restrictions on GMOs and requirements for labeling. Why can't the GMO products be labeled in the U.S.? If one wishes to avoid GMOs, it would be much easier for these products to be readily identified. Many appointees to Capitol Hill, along with the Food and Drug Administration, have been employed by Monsanto, Bayer, Crop Science, and others. One can wonder where their loyalties lie. Many go back and forth between the FDA and big agriculture companies, while we are being deceived, thinking that these organizations have our best interest in health at heart. The FDA approves many of the products made by these farming corporations. Big agriculture lobbies very heavily for their position on Capitol Hill. In other countries, corporations must prove that their products are safe. In the U.S., this is exactly the opposite. These companies do not have to prove that their products are safe for us. This falls to independent laboratories who may not have the full funding to complete their research. Anyone can see that the difference between these two tomatoes. Genetically modified foods may be less expensive than organic, but what are the long-term costs? Throughout Europe, many protests occurred to change policy. Politicians in Europe seem to fear the people, while here in the US, people fear the politicians, and politicians fear lobbyists. There is something wrong with this. I wonder what Karl Marx would have to say about this. If we do nothing and allow the honeybees to vanish and become extinct, we can say goodbye to these foods. At best, we might be able to have food shipped from overseas. But how long can that last? How much more will produce cost? We cannot allow our honeybees to disappear. If one must shop chain grocery stores, be informed and pay attention to the produce stickers. Organic produce will always begin with the number 9. Even if you only select a couple of organic items, that will be less exposure to harmful chemicals that can build up over time in your body. By cutting GMO and pesticide containing foods in half, you are helping local farmers, honeybees, and your family's health. This slide shows perfectly good produce being sprayed for huge profits. These companies want to protect their bottom line. Protecting us is not so important. Organic seeds are fairly inexpensive. Instead of planting vegetation that benefits us little, we can plant food items. Rose bushes and gardenias are beautiful and smell good, but beans, lettuce, and carrots can also be beautiful, and they are more useful for us and for our honeybee friends. Shop organic farmers markets. Involve your children in gardening. Take them to the farmers market. Teach young generations the importance of food from an organic standpoint. If we grow our own food, we can send a message to big agriculture. If we shop organic farmers markets, we also send a big message to the agriculture community. Thank you for your time and attention to this matter. This may not be the typical presentation on social problems, but this is very important to me, and I appreciate your viewing. Save the honeybees!